Right now, the most likely explanation for your entire existence is that none of it is real. Not metaphorically, not philosophically, statistically. And the worst part is not the conclusion. The worst part is that the argument that gets you there is so simple, so boring, so obviously true that you will not be able to find the flaw, because there might not be one. The idea is simpler than it should be, dangerously simple. If a civilization survives long enough, its computers get powerful enough to simulate entire worlds, not game worlds, worlds with people in them, people who think, people who argue, people who are absolutely certain they are real. And if even one civilization ever does that, just one, anywhere, at any point in the entire future of the universe, they would not run one simulation. They would run millions, each one filled with billions of minds that believe they are the original, which means the number of simulated people would outnumber the real ones by a margin so large it is almost embarrassing. And there is a specific moment in this argument, a single sentence you are going to hear in about 3 minutes, where you will realize you have already agreed to the premise that makes this true. You just have not noticed yet. But this is not a guess. This is not science fiction. This is a logical argument published by a philosopher at Oxford, and it has been sitting in the academic literature for over 20 years. Nobody has broken it. And the argument does not ask you to believe anything strange. It asks you to pick a door. In 2003, Nick Bostrom published Are You Living in a Computer Simulation? And the thing that made it dangerous is that he did not argue a position. He built a cage with 3 walls and locked you inside it. Wall 1. Every civilization that has ever existed or will ever exist destroys itself before reaching the technology to run simulations. Every single one. No exceptions, no survivors. If this is the wall you are leaning on, you are betting that the future of every intelligent species in the universe is extinction. Wall 2. Civilizations survive, they build the technology, and then every single one of them chooses not to use it. Across all of time, across every culture, not one of them ever presses the button. You are betting on a universal restraint that has never existed in the history of any species we have ever observed. Wall 3. They build it, they press the button, and you are almost certainly inside what they built. Bostrom did not write a paper about simulations. He wrote a paper about a cage. Every direction you turn leads somewhere you do not want to go. The simulation is not even the scariest wall. Wall 1 is. And the reason this paper broke people when it landed is not the 3 walls themselves. It's what happens when you do the maths on wall 3. Because if even one civilization ever runs ancestor simulations, simulations of their own past, the ratio of simulated minds to real minds is not close. It's not 2 to 1. It's not 1,000 to 1. It is so lopsided that picking yourself out of the crowd as the real one is like pulling a specific grain of sand off a beach with your eyes closed. So you've been sitting here doing something very specific. You've been trying to decide if this is plausible, weighing it, thinking about whether computers could actually simulate consciousness, whether silicon can replicate what carbon does, whether the technology could ever really get there. That's the wrong question, and the fact that you're asking it is the trap. The argument does not need simulations to be possible right now. It does not need them to be possible in your lifetime. It needs you to accept one premise. 1. That a sufficiently advanced civilization could, in principle, build one. That's it. And you already believe that. You believed it before you clicked on this video. You've seen the trajectory of technology with your own eyes. You already accepted the premise. The trapdoor was open before the argument even started, and you were standing on it the entire time. Nobody tricked you. Nobody asked you to believe anything weird. You just believe that technology gets better over time, and that one belief by itself is enough. You might be reaching for a counter-argument right now. Something like, I have memories, I have a past, I remember being a child, I remember yesterday. That has to count for something. It does not. A simulated mind would have simulated memories. The entire point of a high-fidelity simulation is that the beings inside it cannot distinguish it from reality. Your memories do not prove you are real. They prove the simulation is thorough. Every piece of evidence you reach for to prove you are the original is exactly the evidence a simulation would plant to stop you from asking. You are not losing this argument because the argument is unfair. You're losing it because every tool you have for determining what is real, your senses, your memories, your reasoning, works the same way inside a simulation as outside one. And the part of this that actually matters, the part that Bostrom himself pointed to and that most people walk straight past, has nothing to do with computers or code or technology at all. If the simulation is good enough, you can never prove you are inside it. Any evidence you find could be simulated. Any test you design could be anticipated. Any glitch you think you spotted could be patched before you finish writing it down. This is not a gap in the science. This is a feature of the logic. A perfect simulation is, by definition, indistinguishable from reality. The door to proving this wrong is not hard to open. It does not exist. So the argument says you are probably simulated, and the argument also says you can never check. That's the box you're standing in, cornered by probability on one side and unfalsifiability on the other. But the simulation argument does not prove what you think it proves. Read it again carefully. It does not prove you are in a simulation. It proves something stranger. It proves that the word real does not work the way you've been using it. Because if a simulated mind feels real pain, thinks real thoughts, loves the people it loves with something indistinguishable from what you call love, then what is the difference between that mind and yours? Not from the outside, from the inside. If you can't tell the difference from where you're standing, and you can't, then the difference doesn't exist from where you're standing. The question was never, are we in a simulation? That was the decoy. The real question is, what does real actually mean if a copy is identical to the original in every way that matters to the copy? There are 3 ways to live with this. None of them are comfortable. The first is to take the maths seriously, accept that the numbers point where they point, and walk through your life knowing there's a non-trivial probability that everything you experience is computed. Physicists have taken this position, so have engineers, mathematicians, and at least one former NASA researcher who spent years looking for anomalies in the laws of physics, patterns that might betray a computational substrate underneath. He didn't find proof, but he also couldn't prove there was nothing to find. The second is to bet on consciousness. Bet that there's something about subjective experience that no machine can replicate, no matter how powerful, that the feeling of being you is not a pattern that can be copied, but something else entirely, something outside the reach of code. If that's true, simulations of conscious minds are impossible, and the entire trilemma collapses. But nobody has proven this. It's a wager. You are betting your answer on a mystery that neuroscience has not solved and may never solve. The third is the one that keeps philosophers awake. Accept that the argument is valid, accept that you can never verify it, and then ask, so what? If your experience is identical either way, if your pain is real to you, if the people you love are real to you, if nothing about your life changes based on the answer, then the argument is airtight and completely meaningless at the same time. You are trapped inside a question that cannot be answered and might not need to be. If someone handed you proof right now, absolute, undeniable proof that you are in a simulation, what would you do differently tomorrow? If the answer is nothing, if you would still wake up, still care about the same people, still want the same things, then the simulation argument has not revealed that your life is fake. It has revealed that real was never about what something is made of. It was always about whether it mattered to you.